pull that up.
All right, so the Michigan football season does start next weekend, right?
Yep.
Next weekend.
Yep.
And that'll start against the East Carolina Pirates.
Yeah.
So I do expect a blowout. However, I probably would have expected less of a blowout if Holton Ahlers was still there. I thought Holton Ahlers was one of the better players they've had in a long time at East Carolina. They throw the ball a ton. Defense is pretty terrible. In fact, I think they probably rank in the lower percentile. They were at least solid last year. I think they went 8-5 last year.
Yeah, they returned like nobody. Though
Yeah,
they had some guys drafted. So
I tend to think like when I'm looking at this game, I'm looking 59 to like 10.
yeah, I would say if we're gonna predict it, I think Michigan's gonna come out for blood too, just with the Harbaugh suspension thing. I think they're gonna come out and not really worry about running up the score. So that's a pretty good 53 to yeah, I'll go 63 to 7.
Ooh.
Seven or how many touchdowns would that be? Yeah, 9 touchdowns.
Yeah. Okay.
I could see
No
it.
field goals. No field goals. No
9
days off.
touchdowns.
All right, yeah, then week 2 is Nevada, Las Vegas running Rebels.
Yeah.
And they're going back to the big house for the first time since 2015. And they were really bad in 2022. I think I'm looking at their schedule. They started 4-1, and then they lose 6 in a row before they beat their in-state rival Nevada to finish less than mediocre at 5-7. Pretty bad on both sides of the ball from my memory. I think this may be an easier game even than East Carolina. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a lot of depth. We're going to see a lot of the depth in this game. I think UNLV will probably score 3 to 6. Maybe they might get 2 field goals, or they get a lucky touchdown. But I don't think they're touching more than 7. And I'm feeling. I'd put it like probably $150. I bet $150 to somebody if they want to think that UNLV scores more than 7.
Yeah. I don't know. College football is weird sometimes. So I'll say 56-10. I'll give him 10. He'll go on a touchdown. You know, some weird thing could happen.
I'm gonna say 63 to 3.
Yeah. It's not gonna be close. Neither of those first 2 games, really 3 games, are gonna be close.
Yeah, I mean Bowling Green Falcons now. Looks like they were 6-7 last year, but they lost to New Mexico State in a bowl game.
Scott Leffler's their head coach, former Michigan player, which is cool, I guess. But they're definitely, I think they're probably the best of the non-conference. But it's a night game in the big house. Fans will still be pretty fired up.
Yeah, Harbaugh's final game before Harbaugh comes back.
Yeah, final game before he's back. Yeah, so I'm gonna go 56 to 3.
I did see that their quarterback though is a familiar face, Connor Bazelak.
Yep, Connor Bazelak. He can't be thrilled that he's playing Michigan again this year. He got sacked like 9 times in that game last year, and he's probably like, "What are we like? What? That sounds. Come on." So.
Yeah, these poor non-conference teams, because you make a really valid point. Like Michigan's not going to be concerned necessarily about like being kind, right? Taking it easy, letting up. You know,
no, I think they'll play a lot of guys though. I do think we'll see a lot of depth. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep guys fresh.
But I think they'll run their playbook. I think they'll play. They'll throw. They're not just going to
throw the ball,
run dives. They're not just going to run dives and ISOs.
Well, no, and the funny thing is, dives and ISOs are probably going to be ripping off 10 yards of carry against a lot of these.
Maybe. I mean, obviously Edwards and Corn will be pulled by that point probably at the end. But I think they appear to be scrappy. They also have, like you said, they have Leffler, and former Wolverine safety and wide receiver coach Eric Campbell is also on staff.
I think there's a lot of guys on staff there.
So it'll be cool, like at least see those guys again with familiar faces. But I'm gonna say Michigan wins this one like 55 to 10.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be close. It'll be fun. We got Rutgers up next.
Yeah, first Big Ten game, the Scarlet Knights. So this game I actually, in a lot of ways, I think could be close.
I don't think it'll be close because it's at home. I know,
17, like seven, I think 17 to within 17 to 20 points.
okay. I could see that maybe. I'm gonna go with more like 45-21.
Okay, so 21 points. Yeah, I was gonna say Rutgers have 17, but I kind of
Actually,
think
it's really hard for me to see Rutgers scoring 21 points.
I'm
45
gonna
to
say 34-17, Michigan.
all right. All right, I'm gonna go 45-10. And that's
Yeah.
35, just not at all close, but I just don't see Rutgers scoring very many points. And Gavin Wimsatt is still their QB. So
And so, but I think it's going to depend on how their first three games shake out. I was looking at their first three games, and they get Northwestern, Temple, and Virginia Tech. So they could be 3-0.
Yeah, they could be 1-2. Northwestern isn't going to win a game this year, so
Yeah, especially with the whole Pat Fitzgerald thing. But
yeah,
like
they're
it's
not winning a game. So
they're still going to be overmatched, but they could be coming into that game with a lot of confidence if they are 3-0 for sure.
yeah,
So, and I think
Shiano's a
Shiano,
good
I still
coach.
think Shiano's a great coach.
Yeah, he just doesn't have a good team. So
You got to work with what you can get when you're the bottom heap of Big Ten. So
yeah,
yeah,
Nebraska.
yeah, week 5, the Cornhuskers. So I always look forward to this game every time they play each other because I've always liked the Cornhuskers by relative nature. So yeah, Michigan's the reigning winner of the Bussin Bowl, but they have to travel to Lincoln to face a Cornhusker team renewed under Matt Rule.
Yeah.
So he's bringing in some talent.
Yeah, there's some transfer QB there. I'm not. Was it Jeff Sims? Is that who their QB is there now?
Yeah, Georgia Tech's right.
Yeah, he showed some flashes at Georgia Tech. He also was terrible sometimes.
It's a totally different offense at Georgia Tech, though. It's weird.
Yeah, and I'm not think. I could see them pulling out of finding a way to make a bowl game this year. I really could. But this will be the first team with some talent, like some real talent. I think that Michigan's faced. I mean, Rutgers has some players, but and obviously the first road game. If that game ends up at night again, like you saw, Nebraska gave Michigan problems a couple years ago at night. Michigan won, but gave them some issues. I don't know if they'll really give them problems here, but I'm going to say 38-13.
I'll say 38. I think 35 or 38-20.
Yeah,
is kind of what I'm thinking.
I think it'll be more of like Michigan will be up 3 touchdowns and maybe Nebraska scores to put it within. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Michigan will be up 2 touchdowns and scores late, and it really wasn't close, but it was like kind of like, all right, that was, we got out of here with a win.
I just don't think he's going to be able. Rule's a good coach, I think, especially college wise. I just don't know how quick he'll be able to turn it around.
Yeah.
But I think he's got to be the guy Nebraska has to take a step forward because when they first came to the Big Ten, they were like a promising team to be competitive in the Big Ten, and they've kind of found themselves towards the bottom now. So
yeah.
Minnesota Golden Gophers week 6. And
yeah,
I think
this is an interesting game.
This could be Michigan's first real test.
Yep.
I think obviously Minnesota takes a little step back, losing Tanner Morgan, Mo Ibrahim, but they're still, I think, one of the best offensive lines in the Big Ten, next to maybe obviously Michigan. And this is the first time that the Wolverines get to play in front of a packed house in Minneapolis. Yep. So, or at least since 2015 when they won. But I think this is going to be this could be a statement game for Michigan. Obviously, they've had a pretty scrub schedule going into this one. I think Minnesota, a lot of people are at least pretty high on. I think Minnesota may actually even finish the season top 25, maybe towards bottom top 25. But I think Michigan's going to have to come out to prove themselves, and I think they will. And I think that means they may look like a bigger blowout than maybe it was. I think at the end they'll pull away with like 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Probably in the last 6 minutes they'll pull 2 touchdowns more. Yeah. And I think we're looking at probably 38-17 or something.
Yeah, I was gonna go 42-21.
Okay. Yeah, pretty similar difference there.
And in 21 he's even push out. I just don't see, and I'm pretty high on this defense. I don't see most of these teams scoring many points on Michigan this year until we get to Purdue might have some stuff up their sleeve with some of the players until they get to the last 3 games of the season. I really don't see too many. Last 4 games, if you count Purdue, I don't see too many teams scoring points on this defense.
It will be interesting next week when we rank Michigan's players. How like top heavy is it with defensive players in that top 50?
The offense is loaded too. I think they're going to average 40 points a game, maybe more, and I don't think they're giving up more than 12.
I think this is the best team that Harbaugh's fielded, and that's crazy to say that. So
yeah, last year's team was his.
That was just as good. Yeah, I mean, really.
Last year's team was his best team. Maybe there's some arguments. 2016 was really good from NFL standpoint, talent standpoint. 2 years ago was good, obviously.
With Hutchinson over Jabo and
yeah, but that was kind of like that team snuck up on you. That team was more scrappy. Last year's team was just good. This year's team is just loaded
and deep, even like they're getting deeper again. So
yeah,
and that's big for college football and recruiting is holding on to some of those guys that are even going to be 3rd, 4th stringers that are still 3, 4-star players. So
right.
Week 7, Indiana Hoosiers. So Indiana always plays Michigan tough. So it's kind of this is always a tougher one to predict, but they do that more often in Bloomington than Ann Arbor. So I think breaking in a new quarterback and other pieces, obviously in their offense, with some big losses they took in the draft, undrafted last year as well. I think they open their season against Ohio State, don't they?
Yep. Week 1.
So that'll be interesting to kind of gauge that because it's about time. I mean, I'm not going to say Indiana's just bad.
It is in Bloomington, that game at the Ohio State game.
Oh. And that could set an early tone. It really
I guess,
could, so.
but so my dad and brother went to the Michigan IU game last year at IU, because Adam lives down there now. His wife's parents, they're affiliated with IU, and Adam's like, there's no home field advantage here. There's no one here.
It's a dead zone, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, what do you mean home field advantage? This is a high school game. So
it never does seem loud whenever I watch that game on TV. It's like, okay, you can hear the quarterback yelling his plays.
We got problems here. There's no home field advantage there. So we'll see. But I think Michigan
35-10, I think.
Yeah, I'll go 42-17. I'll give Indiana 17.
Week 8 then is the annual Michigan State Spartans game. And I don't think there's any way that Michigan doesn't take Michigan State super seriously, given what happened in the aftermath of last year's game. So I think, we see Michigan get complacent sometimes in this rivalry, but I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think the Spartans are overmatched at every position. And Mel Tucker's going to need to do everything he can to try to get that revenge, and prove himself as a stable college football coach. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Michigan's going to blow them out, and I think we're looking at maybe one of the biggest blowouts they've had in years. I'm going to say 42-13 in this game.
Okay. I think they'll play them a little bit closer than that, but I do think it's pretty blowout. I think I'm going to go 35-10.
Okay.
I don't think it's close at all. I think Michigan's up 21-0, and then
let off the gas a little bit.
Yeah, well, not even lets off the gas, just let's keep everybody healthy type thing.
Okay, yeah.
Got to get everybody through the home stretch here. Once you get into these last 3 or 4 games, this is kind of where the season is.
Week 10, then we get the Purdue Boilermakers. And this is a rematch of the 2022 Big Ten Championship game. So they obviously don't have Jeff Brom anymore. Aiden O'Connell's gone, and potentially a future star quarterback in the NFL the way he's playing preseason. But Ryan Walters is the new coach and comes aboard after being successful as an Illinois defensive coordinator, which he slowed the Wolverines last year in that very low-level game that Jake Moody saved. The question, and the real question is, does he have the personnel to produce similar results? I think the defense is going to be tough on Michigan, and I think it might be one of the lowest scores that Michigan had all year. I'm going to say 27 points for Michigan, but I'm going to say they win, and I'm going to say 27 to. They might put 17 up. I'm going to say 27-17. This might be a close one.
All right. Where's it at? It's at Michigan. I still think they get into the 30s. Now we're getting into November, so weather's going to start, maybe limiting some score, but early November, there's still some decent weather there. I'll go 31-10.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So we go into this next game, week 11 at Penn State and Nittany Lions. And that's probably a whiteout, isn't it?
Oh, nope, it's at noon. So
is it there? You don't think they're going to flex it later or what?
no, our Foxes already has it at noon. It's their big noon kickoff.
That is kind of
No, because they already picked their whiteout game. It's against Purdue or something. It's against some crap team. Let me see if I can
I mean,
find it.
Purdue, I wouldn't say is crap, but
No, it's something else. It's see if I can find it. It's against Iowa. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, Iowa's hitting this too.
7:30 p.m. against Iowa. Like, what are we? Come on, really?
That is really surprising because I think Penn State has a legit chance this year.
But it's so late in the season. I don't think they'll let them do it because it's so cold.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, people are going to be wearing coats, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Well, yeah. So yeah, the good news is, and I guess that it's not going to be a night game unless, and obviously the Wolverines didn't agree with that late. The bad news is that bad news is that the new talent the Lions are working with, like Drew Aller, will have essentially gone through a whole season and not being too inexperienced at this point. Happy Valley is one of the hardest places to play in the country, but Harbaugh has 2 wins in 4 tries there. And Penn State does have relatively equal talent. I just don't think it's gonna. I think I was initially gonna probably pick a Penn State win here, but it's not a night game. It's almost guaranteed tonight. A night game is a win for Penn State, right?
No, if it was a night game, I would be sick about that game. But I think Michigan's going to win. And I just think this will obviously be their toughest game, but I think they know that. Like, they've already circled it on their calendar. They know what they're gearing up towards. And kind of like last year, I don't think it'll be as much of a blowout as last year. But I don't know. Penn State's defense is good. They've got some dudes out there, definitely. They're littered with future NFL draft picks probably, but I just don't know if they can match up with Michigan's like strength up front, right? And I think by then Michigan will kind of have McCarthy kind of fully unleashed, right? And I think they will fully unleash him in this game. So I'm gonna go Michigan 35, Penn State 24.
That's almost identical what I was thinking. I was going to say 38-27 Michigan.
Yeah. Michigan, and I think it'll be not necessarily ever in doubt. I don't think you know what I mean? Like, I think Michigan will have control over the game, but I think maybe Penn State scores late. Maybe it'll be 35-17 and Penn State scores late, but yeah.
Well, then week 12, still undefeated, going to Maryland Terrapins. And this is yet again a trap game for the season, I think, for Michigan. It's another penultimate regular season matchup in College Park. Talia Tagovailoa gave Wolverines fits last year.
Josh Gaddis.
Josh Gaddis. I think the thing is, like with Talia too, is if he's had a good season going up to this point, like this is where he really can prove he can make money in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Like I think he's a top right now. He's pretty much unanimously a top 6 QB prospect going into next year.
Yep.
And I think he can really propel himself to even be a first-round quarterback, to at least second-round quarterback, with a really nice game against Michigan. So if he does continue to give the Wolverines fits like last time, then it could be a tough game.
He's also replacing his entire receiving core. I mean, obviously, you're this late in the year. They're probably
Raheem Jarrett, Dante Demas gone.
All those guys. Dante Demas is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Raheem Jarrett,
really good, really good. I think this game ends up being. I think Michigan kind of looks at it kind of like they did 2 years ago. Same thing. Maryland kind of came in and was giving some other teams problems, but Michigan kind of blew them out. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a blowout, but I do think Michigan. I think I'm going to go 38-24. 17.
I think Maryland's gonna put up points just because I think Tully is a solid quarterback, and I think he still knows how to score on this team, despite a really solid Michigan defense. But I think Michigan's just gonna be able to match from point for point and then some. So I think at the end it's gonna be 42, 27 or 28. I think they'll put them like
again. I just don't see any team other than maybe Ohio State scoring much more than 21 points on this team. Ohio State.
I mean, Penn State, right? With Drew Aller and everything.
Yeah, Penn State and Ohio State. Just Penn State's got some good running backs for sure.
Tully's probably the best quarterback we'll face this year. I mean, argue. Some people are putting Drew Aller already in like a high.
Yeah, Aller. I mean, maybe from a talent standpoint, but beyond that, yeah, Talia, and then you could go with.
McCord is good though, I swear.
Yeah, McCord, but like I've seen nothing from Kyle McCord so far. I'm not saying he won't be. He will be good because he's throwing to like a
Marvin Harrison Jr., the greatest receiver in years in college football. So yeah, with Ohio State, that goes into this last game here, week 13. Donovan Edwards still running, and Michigan should have a healthy Blake Corum in this game too. Ohio State's defense didn't hold up to the scrutiny last year, despite this hire of Jim Knowles to fix that side of the ball. So I think Michigan, returning the bulk of its talent, with Ohio State losing CJ Stroud, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, who never beat the Wolverines. So let's just make sure we say that. I think Michigan's going to extend its win streak to 3 in a row against Ohio State and gain some back on that in that rivalry. And I think it could be. I think they could pull away again like last year. So let's say something like 45-20.
Okay. That could be close, but I'm gonna go 42-31.
Okay. So 11 points. So I think for the most part, we haven't picked a game within 11 points of them.
I'm telling you, they're not gonna. They're good enough to where they don't have to sweat until week 10.
Mm-hmm.
They're good enough. They will. There's gonna be some hiccup or something that makes us cringe or whatever, right? Or an injury or something that's frustrating. But I wasn't worried about any game even last year until Illinois second half, when it was like, you're going to ruin it all by losing to these guys. You know what I mean? Not once was I ever really worried about the outcome of the game. Right.
So I mean, 12-0 for that regular season, that puts them into the college football playoffs, certainly. And then who knows? We'll talk about who's in the college football playoff in our preview, likely next week. And I think it'll be interesting to see what Michigan Georgia looks like at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they match up well. I really hope we get to see it. I just hope there's no stupid injury on the Michigan side of things, because I think this is the best team I've seen on paper since 2006, probably.
If JJ goes down, man,
well, then
Alex
Orji
will take care of all of it.
No, but it's the same thing as the Lions, though. If quarterback goes down, I mean, if Goff goes down for Lions, we're thinking, oh boy. If JJ
I don't feel as bad actually with Teddy Bridgewater now, but I did initially feel that bad. I think a quarterback and the run game behind our starting off. I think the starting offensive line for Lions are going to be the big part.
Well, and I think the same thing. Michigan could win probably 9 games or 10 games without JJ, but they need him to win those 2 games, Ohio State and Penn State. You know what I mean? They got to have him be elite in those games, right? So
I'd like to have him against Maryland too, just in case.
I mean, I'd like to have him in all the games, but
you know what I mean.
You know what I mean? They can win. They could win by handing the ball off and doing the basic stuff otherwise. But I think if they need him to overcome those really, really good teams. So
we'll see it. We'll see it like we had last year in our rankings. I mean, Ryan Hayes, Olu, Zach Zinter, Trevor Keegan, and basically that was the catalyst, was that 5th offensive lineman. But we had 4 of those offensive linemen in our top 11 last year.
Yeah, it'll probably be.
And I think it's probably gonna be similar this year. And they're loaded
and deep. I think their second string and even some of the third string guys would start on a lot of Big Ten teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, well, they talked about the Senior Bowl has 7 guys picked out that they are thinking about inviting on their team. And I'm like, well, there's only five starting offensive linemen. And they're like, yeah, no, there's 7 guys that if they all want to come out, like they would invite them.
That'd be so cool to see that though. I would totally want.
Right?
I never watched the Senior Bowl all the way through, but like I would.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, that's absurd. It's like you're not even gonna, these guys didn't even start. So
Yeah, we had Trente Jones at 24 and Carson Barnhart at 27 last year.
Barnhart's
So they,
but
yeah,
probably both.
yeah, it'll be interesting. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week, and we'll do our rankings. We'll preview college football season, and it'll be fun. It's one of our best shows of the year. So we'll see you next week.
Sure. See you.